Hi guys, welcome to my kitchen. Tonight you are going to be helping me, well, not literally helping me, but you and I are going to make giant baked meatballs. So I don't know why, but for some reason this is just so much more fun to me than the tiny little meatballs, and actually it takes a little bit less work too. And because they're baked, you just throw them in the oven and go finish doing what else you're doing, and they're just cooking away. So let's get started with ground beef. I'm using grass-fed tonight because it is a little bit healthier. I have 2 pounds of ground beef here, which is going to be enough for both me and Nathan to have a nice big giant meatball. To start off with, I'm going to do my seasonings, and I'm just doing this by eye, so you basically do what tastes best to you. I do add a lot of seasoning because I find that with a meatball it takes a lot to actually come through and not just taste like straight meat. So what you saw me put in there is onion powder and garlic powder, not salt. Not onion powder or garlic salt, just the powder varieties. And then I'm gonna do some black pepper. And I'm gonna put salt in there, of course. We want it to have good flavor. Okay, that's plenty. And then a couple herbs because it's meatballs, it's Italian, you have to do herbs. So dried basil in here. And I'm using dried because it incorporates into the meatball better. And since it does have to cook, it's not a vehicle that's really great for like a fresh herb. This is better using the dried, I find. And some oregano, pretty decent little sprinkling of oregano. And then I am also going to add in some grated Romano cheese. You could also use, sorry, our cat's being crazy over there. You could also use Parmesan cheese as well. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and get in here with my nice gloved hands and mix all of this together. I think that using your hands for this is the best method, and the gloves make it so that I don't get freaked out about touching raw meat. So you just kind of mush it around with your hands until everything's really well incorporated. Now you can use whatever normal meatball recipe that you like for this. This is my meatball recipe. I do not particularly like the texture that comes from using breadcrumbs in my meatballs. I don't know, for me it just changes the texture, and I like it more meaty than the texture that it gives when you put the bread in it. Sometimes I will use an egg to help bind it together, but to be honest, that kind of changes the texture too. And I'm kind of a meat purist. I just like my meat. So that's why I pretty much just stick to seasoning the meat and then call it a day. With a little bit extra cheese, of course. All right, so you can see that all my little seasonings are poking through here. Now, to be completely honest, this is supposed to be a giant meatball, so I'm just gonna split this pretty much in half and make pretty much a 1 pound meatball. It is gonna shrink down a little bit as it cooks, of course, because ground beef does that. You don't have to put any non-stick spray or anything on your baking dish for this, because the fat that comes out of the ground beef itself will basically give you a non-stick surface. So I just like to use a baking dish, like a casserole dish like you'll see there. And it will fit my 2 meatballs in there perfectly. I'm just giving this a little bit extra attention so it doesn't like automatically split down the center. When you're working with ground beef, you can kind of see sometimes where it wants to kind of do that, and we don't want it to do that because it's supposed to be a meatball. So that right there automatically took me like 10 minutes less than it would if I was trying to roll little tiny meatballs. And it's just so fun. Like when you plate it up, it's just so fun. Now you could, if you wanted to, bake it in the sauce. So if you like baked pasta sauce, you could definitely just take your sauce and dump it all over that right now and bake it in the sauce. I am not going to do that. I'm actually going to just bake it as is. I have my oven preheated to 350 degrees. I'm guessing this is going to take anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes to fully cook for me. This is a great thing to use your meat thermometer for. So if you're very particular about how you like your ground beef, if you like it medium or medium rare or well done, you'll want to use your meat thermometer to make sure that the inside of the meatball is where you want it to be, because of course you can't as easily judge on the outside. So this is going to go in my oven. I will have you come back when I'm taking it out, and then we'll plate everything up and you'll get to see how fun it is. Okay guys, welcome back. So we are going to get ready to plate up our meatballs here. Grab these out. They're looking good, they're smelling good. They're spitting fat everywhere. One thing to note as well with temping the meatballs, they do continue to cook when you take them out of the oven. So if they're just under where you want them to be, just go ahead and take them out, because they will continue to cook as you're plating them up and everything. So I've got my pasta. I put a little bit of sauce there to give it a little bit of a bed. Okay. And then, see, he comes up just nice and easy. I mean, he kind of needed a little bit more pasta there, but we'll take it. And then just pour some sauce over top. That would be absolutely lovely with a little bit of cheese on top, which I didn't have ready for you, and a couple basil leaves. Absolutely so much fun. And like if you serve it to somebody, it's pasta, so it's easy and it's quick, but it's so much fun. One quick note. I did bump up the heat on my oven. It was taking them a little while to get started. To be honest, I probably should have done that in reverse, put it up higher, brought it down lower towards the end of the cooking. But just because it was taking a little longer, I bumped it up to 425. So you can cook them anywhere in that range and just get them to the correct temperature for you. So hopefully you like them.